Everything Everywhere All at Once. A film that just won 7 Oscars out of its 11 nominations. Now, when I first saw this movie last year, I had a very familiar feeling. I had the same feeling as when I first saw the movie Parasite. That feeling was something unique. I felt that I had just watched a movie that is a once-in-a-generation type film. A film that will eventually be added to the AFI's Top 100 Movies of All Time list. I often say that the movies that I like to go see are the ones where my friends have disagreements on. You know, one side might say, oh, I really hated it. And the other side might say, it was the best movie I've ever seen. To me, those movies are really, really fun because I get to go in and I get to judge, you know, and say which side was correct. However, when I saw that every single one of my friends had rated this movie a 10 out of 10, let's just say I was intrigued. It isn't every day that all of my friends give a movie the exact same score, especially when it is a 10 out of 10. So I decided I'd go and watch the movie, and everything they said about it was true. When I watched this movie, it made me feel a way that I haven't felt in a long time, and it led me to believe that not only is this movie incredible, but that it's practically perfect. A masterpiece, as some would say. Now I know that art is subjective, okay, I get it. But at the same time, when it comes to analytical dissections or philosophical understandings of what makes movies enjoyable, I like to work from grounded fundamentals if I can. While they might not be objective, they do seem to be fairly agreed upon. In this video, I hope to show you why Everything Everywhere All at Once is not just great, but is perfect. It truly is everything, everywhere, all at once. My name is Matt, and this is Understanding Cinema. This mind-bending film takes you on a journey through multiple dimensions and universes, challenging your perceptions of time, space, and reality itself. Directed by the visionary duo of Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, the movie is a masterclass in storytelling, cinematography, and visual effects. From its stunning visuals to its complex and layered narrative, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a cinematic masterpiece that deserves to be celebrated and analyzed. I intend to break this video into a few sections, discussing different aspects of the film individually, and with a final all-encompassing opinion on the film overall. Alright, let's do this. Oh, spoilers? Obviously. First, I want to talk about the story and its thematic purpose. The primary theme of Everything Everywhere All at Once is about acceptance of one's own problems. Specifically, recognizing one's projection of trauma onto others. This is precisely what happens with Evelyn Wang, whose decision to marry Wayman was met with disapproval from her father. Feeling rejected and abandoned by her parents, Evelyn was left with unresolved feelings of guilt and anger throughout her whole life that she directed towards Wayman and her daughter, distancing herself both physically and emotionally from them. The story follows Evelyn as she learns to process and accept the pain she has caused her family, ultimately leading to a reconnection and a rejuvenation of love. In the IRS building, Waymond, Evelyn's husband, becomes a conduit for Alpha Waymond, a version of Waymond from another universe.
Come on, you may be in grave danger.
Who gives Evelyn a device that enables her to enter the minds of other versions of herself in different realities. However, Evelyn's mind-jumping triggers an onslaught of attacks from malevolent forces in the Alphaverse, led by Jobu Tupaki, the alpha version of Joy, who has gone insane due to excessive verse jumping. Fortunately, Evelyn discovers that she is uniquely positioned to stop Jobu, as she is the worst version of herself in the multiverse.
Anything, because you're so bad at everything.
Allowing her to draw strength from other realities to become stronger than Jobu. In her quest to save Jobu from self-destruction, Evelyn undergoes a transformation, adopting the same uncaring attitudes as Joy, drawing from multiple hilarious realities. However, it is only when Wayman reminds her that kindness is the way to victory, that she realizes the error of her ways.
Is that we have to be kind.
With the help of others, Evelyn manages to save Joy by venturing into the void. While it's possible to jump into the technicalities of the multiverse jumps and the intricacies of the plot, it's important to remember the visuals represent the tumultuous thoughts that are going on in Evelyn's mind. Therefore, I think it's a little bit more appropriate to analyze this more metaphorically rather than literally. One of the biggest underlying themes that I really connected with was how the film deals with philosophical concepts of nihilism and existentialism. Now, I'm a major philosophy guy, okay? Half of the books on my shelf over there, they're all philosophy books, all right? I really love this kind of stuff. So when a movie gets to dive into these kinds of topics, it really, really excites me. In the movie, the everything bagel serves as the central symbol of nihilism, which is the belief that life lacks meaning and value. Joy's struggle with depression has caused her to embrace this negative outlook, bringing her dangerously close to the brink of self-destruction. Evelyn is no stranger to this feeling either, having battled it her entire life due to parental pressure, a lack of love, and a constant sense of denial. On the opposite end is the googly eyes. Visually similar to the bagel, a ring with a hole in the center, often associated with fun and playfulness, can seem as a symbol of the joy and meaning that life can offer. They represent the idea that life is not always serious, and that sometimes it's important to embrace spontaneity and humor. Googly eyes can serve as a reminder that even in the midst of difficult times, there can still be moments of joy and lightness. By embracing the playful side of life, we can find value and meaning in even the most mundane of moments. During a conversation with Evelyn, Wayman reveals that he is also fighting a battle.
我总是看到事情好的一面，那不是因为我天真，而是必要，而需要。这也就是我的生存之道。
While Evelyn keeps people at arm's length to maintain a sense of control, Wayman embraces humor, laughter, and spontaneity as a means of combating negativity. Though his trauma and fear may not stem from the same source as Evelyn's, he recognizes that everyone has their own struggles, and the choice of how to confront them. One can either fall prey to negativity like Joy, shut it out like Evelyn and be controlled by it, or approach it with humor and positivity like Wayman. It is no coincidence that the bagel, representing nihilism, and the googly eyes of positivity are visual opposites, the bagel being a black ring with a white center, while the googly eyes are white rings with black irises. The concepts of the bagel and googly eyes in the film also represent the traditional Chinese philosophy of yin and yang. This age-old concept is symbolized by a circular shape that is divided into two teardrop-shaped halves. One half is black with a white dot, while the other half is white with a black dot. This embodies the belief that opposing forces can be interconnected or complementary. Neither side is superior to the other. Rather, maintaining a balance between them is crucial. Near the climax, Evelyn finally discovers the benefit of living life positively. This is represented by the googly eye that she places on her forehead. It has a double meaning, that Evelyn has unlocked her third eye, and that third eye is one of positivity and joy. She fights off Jobu's followers not by defeating them physically, but by showing them what life looks like with joy. Eventually, she makes it up to her daughter, Evelyn wanting to stop her from collapsing into eternal despair. Jobu fights back, trying to bring Evelyn with her into nothingness. Eventually, Evelyn grabs her daughter and hugs her, holding her tight. She realizes that she doesn't want to be like her father and let her child leave. Joy pleads to let her go. And for a moment, Evelyn releases her grip on her, watching as she falls into emptiness. But Joy doesn't actually want to leave. She reaches out one last time, and with no hesitation, Evelyn pulls her daughter back into a loving embrace. Evelyn assures Joy that she will always be by her side, regardless of how complex their circumstance may be or how limited their time together is. As they embrace, they break free from the cycle of their unhealthy parent-child dynamic. This is the moment that so many of us desire, that reconnection with the ones we love. The final act shows us a similar beginning to that of the first act. Evelyn at the table finishes organizing her receipts for the tax audit, except this time her family's there, working together as a team. They take the receipts to the IRS, where we start to hear voices and sounds. Evelyn is still connected to the multiverse, seeing every possible universe, and yet she chooses to stay right here with her family. In essence, the story of Everything Everywhere All at Once is about Evelyn coming to terms with the pain and trauma that she's caused her family. The plot twists and turns across multiple realities serve to uncover the self-discovery that Evelyn goes through. The bagel symbolizes depression, pain, nihilism, while the googly eyes represent positivity, hope, and joy. Interestingly, the universe that Evelyn and Joy choose to stay in is the one with no superpowers, no strange phenomena. It provides a glimpse of what a normal version of this story might look like. Something that we all relate to. The story is so relatable on so many levels. It seems practically impossible that someone could watch this movie and not connect to it in some way. The themes and story elements are so simplistic yet so emotional that it's really easy to get sucked into this story and to feel connected to Evelyn and Joy and to be a part of their story. I can't think of a single person that watched this movie and came out and said they didn't like it, or came out and said that they didn't relate to one of the characters, or that they didn't feel something while watching it. And I think that means something. The feeling this movie brings visually is literally every emotion. Dark, muted tones to represent fear, depression, and pain, while vividly bright colors bring hope and joy. I think one of my favorite scenes is when Wayman asks Evelyn to be kind, the multicolored lights swirling around their faces, representing not only the physical multiverses, but also the emotional whirlwind we as the audience feel. We understand both sides. We know that sometimes life feels hopeless, and yet our happiest moments are unforgettable and stay with us forever. Another moment I found truly remarkable was when Evelyn's mind fully breaks, after having experienced thousands of other realities instantaneously. The visual montage of every reality converging into one as Evelyn drops to the ground, becoming a rock. The film has been leading up to this moment for a while. Evelyn finally understands what Joy feels in terms of the lack of meaning in life. She and her daughter talk as rocks, noting how small and insignificant they feel. The visual imagery here is just fantastic. Using rocks as a metaphor for lifeless things is a great representation of how Evelyn and Joy feel at this moment. They look at themselves as just meaningless people. And how further from the truth could that be? Another thing I found really cool was the switching of the aspect ratio throughout the movie. I really love it when filmmakers get really creative with the aspect ratio. I feel like a lot of modern movies tend to forget about a lot of the creative things that you can do with an aspect ratio. But this movie uses it in so many creative and unique ways. It's incredible. Whether it's to make the audience uncomfortable, like in It Comes at Night, or to feel open and warm, like Grand Budapest Hotel. The aspect ratio of a film creates all kinds of subsurface emotions that we as the audience don't fully grasp at first. For example, in this film, the first instance of a major aspect ratio change is when Alpha Wayman fights the security guards with his fanny pack. This signifies a change in severity in the situation. He beats up the security, which pulls Evelyn and us into what is happening fully. The next major time the aspect ratio switches is anytime Evelyn goes into another reality. Each reality has a different art style, as well as aspect ratio that I thought was so cool, and a unique way to differentiate between the realities. Now, my favorite shot of the entire film is this one. I briefly mentioned this scene earlier with Evelyn and Waymond. The lighting here is so unbelievably simplistic, being really only one primary light with some practicals in the background, and yet, for me, it nearly brought me to tears. Watching as Evelyn finally sees Waymond for the fun and joyous man he is, remembering the reasons she fell in love with him in the first place was because he's good. He embodies hope. As the light circles Evelyn and Waymond, we see the colors shift across the spectrum, from yellow to green to blue to purple and red. I think this signifies the emotional explosion happening inside Evelyn and us. We watch as the colors flash, looking deep into her eyes, the visual imagery giving us a chance to experience even a modicum of the experience she is having here. The scene is only amplified in emotion when movie star Waymond says to movie star Evelyn that
我想告诉你，如果有来生，我还是会选择和你一起报税，开心一点。
Evelyn, in the real reality, goes up to Waymond and embraces him in probably the most emotional part of the film. They look into each other's eyes and smile, knowing that everything is going to be all right. The final thing that I want to touch on is the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once. The title's greatest aspect is that it comprises a chain of ultimate concepts. It's not restricted to one or two things, nor is it confined to a million things, but encompasses everything. It isn't only present in a specific location or dispersed across a million locations, but it's ubiquitous. Furthermore, it's not a gradual process of one thing after another, or a few things at a time, or even a million things at a time, but rather all things at the same time. Now, this notion can be overwhelming and intimidating, which makes the title particularly astute. It's a clever title because it operates on both the narrative and thematic level. Additionally, the title refers to the three distinct parts of the film. Part 1, titled Everything, showcases the concept of verse jumping and the ability to acquire any skill required. Essentially, one can become anything they desire. In Part 2, Everywhere, the film takes a drastic turn as Evelyn's mind shatters, and she, along with Joy, jump from one universe to another. Finally, in Part 3, All at Once, Evelyn and Joy find tranquility as they come to terms with the vastness of everything and everywhere, and focus on cherishing the company of their loved ones. The title's effectiveness lies in its ability to relate to both the story and the theme of the movie. I couldn't cover everything this movie has to offer, just because there's so much. Particularly like the music that was scored by Sun Lux, who I have been a big fan of for years now, okay? Listen, I was one of the first, all right? I was in there back in the day. You remember Easy, Dangerous, Stolen? Now those are good music. I could do an entire video just on Sun Lux and their musical composition here in this movie. It's so unique and emotional, and I honestly, I don't even have the words to describe how good it is. It's just, it encompasses everything, you know? Just like the movie. It encompasses everything. It's all of the emotions, they build up in you, and you just feel it. And that's what makes it so good. It feels real, and it feels honest and genuine. When I say this movie is everything, everywhere, all at once, I mean it. Because it encompasses all things that are good and bad. It shows us the positive and negative aspects of life. We get to be engulfed by all of our emotions. We get to see thousands of realities. Hope and oblivion. The struggle to find peace and happiness, even when it seems like there's none left. Now, I love this movie. I wish I could fully explain the emotions I felt when I saw this. Normally I feel really good explaining how I feel and talking about it, but when your emotions are so complex, and when a movie that brings out these hyper complex emotions, it's really hard to describe, other than you just gotta go and see it. You just have to feel it. You have to connect with it. Now, I will say this. There are people who love you. There are people out there who care about you. They want to see you succeed and be happy. even when you think that life lacks meaning, just know that there is purpose inside you and inside your love for other people. I do hope that everyone gets to experience this movie at least once, at least one time in their life, because I really believe it could change people. It can help them. It can show them the positive aspects of life and help them learn to have hope. Anyways, I'm really grateful for those of you who have gotten to this point. I want to shout out my friends Jackson and Brandon because they gave me some great insights when I was getting ready to do this video. They helped me piece together a lot of my thoughts and a lot of my feelings about this movie, considering both of them have probably seen this movie 100 times. It really meant a lot that you'd be willing to help out. I love this movie, and I'm really glad I was able to talk about it and share my thoughts and feelings about it. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, because it shows me that people enjoy this and that they like listening and learning about this kind of stuff, and it's my passion. And I love filmmaking. I love movies. I probably watch more movies than I should, but it means a lot to me. And leaving a like shows me that you guys care and that you guys are interested and that you guys want me to keep making videos. Feel free to subscribe and leave me a comment. I'm really curious about what you guys felt when you watched this movie. What was your experience? What characters did you relate to the most? Or what scenes did you feel like you really connected with? I'm really curious. I really want to know what other people's feelings on this are. So let me know down in the comments. I'm happy to read through all of them. I read all the comments, by the way. I don't know if you've seen my skin ring video, but I reply to literally every comment because I'm obsessed, okay? I want to know what people think, and I want to know what people's thoughts are on movies, because I love movies and I want to learn and I want to grow, and I hope you guys do too. Anyways, I'll keep this brief. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you next week. My name is Matt, and this is Understanding Cinema. Peace!